In this video, I tried to win 10 games of Deathrun in a row. Hey guys, it's Scurrminator here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This video took over 8 hours to record and edit, so any support would be greatly appreciated. So, can I do it? Well, let's find out. So, I started the first attempt with School. Now, School is actually one of my least favourite maps, but at least it's nice and short, so it's nice and easy to get over and done with nice and quickly. No big worries there. As I was loading into my next game, I saw this guy called Mocha Flame who clearly recognised me. I would recommend you keep an eye on him for later in the video. So it was a terminal, and as you can see, he was at a death. Now, little did I know at this point, he was going to focus me for the whole round. Not just this round, but every single round he got into as death. And believe me, there were quite a few more. So I sped up the footage here. As you can probably see, I'm doing alright at the start. Die here, and then at the TNT, die once again. And yeah, it was all going okay. Until right at the end where, as you can probably see, it looks like I'm going to win, but someone got ahead because he was focusing me the entire round. So, starting attempt number 2. The map for game 1 this time was Toys, and as you can probably see, not too much seemed to happen this game. I think the death was near me at the start, and then towards the end it was kind of just a bit of an easy speedrun for me, and I ended up winning nice and easily. So, going into the next game, as you can see, we have a Primus, and this, as you can probably tell, the deaths were a little more challenging, especially at the start. But once I had reached that checkpoint, the death seemed to kind of just give up. I'm not sure what really happened, but once again, it was a nice and easy win for game number 2. Game number 3 was a Sub-Zero. Now this map I prefer as it's nice and long and I've got lots of opportunities to outplay Death and win hopefully. But this time I didn't really need to worry about Death. He made a short brief appearance in the middle and towards the end, but apart from that, it was a bit of a walk in the park for me, and there you go. Game number 4 was another Primus. Now, I'm afraid a few of these maps will be repeated because there are only about 15 or so maps in the game, so you will definitely see at least one of each. And this run was pretty easy, as you can see, another nice and easy win for a speedrun. Game number 5 was a Cave. Now Cave is a very short map and it's very easy for things to go wrong. As you can see, this is a crucial part because if I don't get ahead here, I have a very high chance of losing, but thankfully I managed to pull off this boost and the deaths never seen me since. At this point we're already at game 6, this challenge has been pretty easy. So the map is Gardens, and Gardens is also another good one as it's nice and long and I have lots of shortcuts and special tips I can use on this map. And the deaths were actually playing, so that makes things a little bit more interesting, but so far the run looks like it's going very, very well. And once again, when I reach this checkpoint, the deaths seem to just give up or they can't see me, except for they do make a bit of an appearance at the end, as you can probably see, but luckily for me, I was just about able to win. Game number 7, another Sub-Zero, which I was quite happy with because, as I said earlier, it's one of my better maps, so I think I have a decent chance in winning this one. And once again, the death seems to just be giving up and making it a bit too easy for me. Now, you'll see on this attempt, I'm getting a bit cocky at this point. I go for this stupid 4-block jump, not once, not twice, but eventually I make it on the 3rd time, but thankfully I had enough of a lead and I ended up winning. So we're already at game 8. Now this is where it starts to get a little more stressful, but luckily for me, my best map, Relic, comes up. Now you can probably tell the ping glitch has affected my game at this point, which means the death is a bit pink and a few things are as well. But don't worry, I'll reset my game for the next round. And as you can probably tell, it's a bit more of a tricky one for me this time, as the deaths are actually playing until the end when I get a nice breakaway and win. On to game 9, and this map, School, is one of the toughest to win as it's so short and so unpredictable. And as you can probably see, I got off to a good start, but then disaster struck as the death realised I was there and blew me up with the TNT here. This means I'm back in the pack, and I'm not sure if I'm necessarily going to win this one and not feeling quite as confident, but alas, I carry on. I managed to die to those arrows sadly, and then I used my boost here. But I did not get the checkpoint, so now it's very important that I get the next checkpoint or I would have lost, and I just about make it just before the death activates the trap. I also make it over the water through here, and I can avoid the poison by sticking to the left there. And then at the end here, the death is still trying to kill me. You probably can't see them too easily, but they are there, trust me. And we make it to the final checkpoint, and luckily for me, I have my boost at the end. I can do these easy parkour jumps and go for the win. So we've reached game number 10. Now, as I was saying earlier, there was a certain person you might want to remember for later in the video. Now, as you can see, once again, Macho Flame is back. And not only is he back, he is death on the same map as last time when I lost. So I am now going to have to be focused and still win. This is going to be a tough round. Now, as you can see, I died to the TNT. I boost there to get a nice checkpoint, and there's no point baiting him because I know he's going to get me anyway. So I get a nice prediction jump there. I now go for the clever parkour tactic, which works beautifully. And now I'm on to the next bit here, which is quite tough. So I use my boost so I don't have to bait him. I can easily jump across the ice here. And as I try to bait the arrows, he falls for it, and I'm on to the TNT next. So there's no point in me going, I just have to wait for my boost, which I use, and I'm through the checkpoint. This is going quite well so far. I'm still in the lead. I can easily remember that pattern on the floor, and here I got quite lucky with the jaws and I was able to get through to the checkpoint. I managed to actually bait him here on the fire, but I still ended up dying right at the end. And the parkour I actually managed to do. This is where things go very badly wrong. Yeah, I died in one of the worst places possible, and sadly, as if it was a film, I see the other runners in front of me running to the finish line within grasping distance of winning. I failed. I had lost. So now, I'm not going to let you go through the pain of watching me losing, so here we go. Attempt 3, lost on game 2. Attempt 4, I was once again with Macho Flame, but this was only game 1. But you can probably guess how this ended, as I was just focused, I'd got too far behind, so in the end, I just ended up rage quitting, to be honest. On attempt number 5, I got all the way to game 9, but cruelly it was snatched by only half a second. Yeah, that was really annoying. At this point, I was getting really angry, and game 1 of attempt 6 did not help, as I quite easily lost. I mean, that was just an awful round, to be honest. And by attempt 7, game 3, mistakes were starting to creep in, as you can see by this awful boost onto the block, and I completely failed, and that just gave this guy the win, to be honest. It wasn't even anyone's fault apart from me. And attempt 8 of game 1, we find Macho Flame as death yet again. Although this time, even though he was focusing me, I managed to come out on top. However, attempt 8 didn't go too far, as in game 5, I ended up losing again. At this point, I ran out of space to record the footage on my computer. So, attempt 12. Why is this one important, you may ask? Well, you'll find out soon. So, Game 1, Metropolis, one of the shortest maps in the game, and as you can see, it was a reasonably easy one. Once again, the Deaths kind of were fighting me at the start, but they let me get away. So, loading into Game 2. As you can probably see, I voted for Relic, and that is what we got. You might notice a small pattern here of a lot of longer maps, especially Relic, because these are my favourite, and I think I have a higher chance of winning on these, as especially this map, there are about 5 or so shortcuts that I know how to do, which really helps me win every time. So as you can see, reasonably easy apart from the start, and yeah, that was a win. Going on to game number 3. We get Relic once again, so you're going to have to put up with some repetition here, but as you can see, trying to do all the shortcuts, this was actually a decent run. I managed to get away from all the deaths. I died once at the start, but apart from that, it was pretty much perfect. And as you can see, another nice and easy win. On to game 4 now. This time it wasn't Relic, it was School. Now this is much worse, because as I said earlier, this is the shortest map. And as you can see, I died once here, and I decided, never mind, I'll go for the TNT. Died at the TNT. Now I saw this Warden skin miles in front. Now this was slightly scary, but I knew there were 2 deaths, so I wasn't too worried. However, then he boosted over both ices and the deaths lost him. This means he has a clear run at the win, and I knew I was in trouble. So my plan now was to chase him down as fast as possible and pray the deaths spotted him in time. As I got closer and closer to the finish, he looked like he had an easy win, but at the last moment the Death notices where he is and manages to kill him on the logs. This, however, leaves me to the TNT.
Nice.
Yeah, the Death fluffed it, and I actually just about managed to win by just over half a second. And as I was loading into game 5, I got Death, so I skipped over that game nice and quickly. And as you can see, probably this time, we go for a different map, Viaduct, but once again, lovely and long. So it gives me a nice big chance to hopefully get ahead and win, which is exactly what ends up happening this round. As you can see, the Deaths just kind of give up at the start, and it's a nice and easy free win for me for game number 5. Game number 6 was a bit more difficult as it was another School. As I was saying earlier, this is a tough map, and you can probably tell this one wasn't quite as bad because I managed to kind of get through from the death right towards the end, and yeah, it was a win. But on to game 7, another School. At this point I was getting really frustrated, and do you know who else was getting frustrated? My computer. Yeah, the recording just crashed because I ran out of storage, but trust me, I did win this one, so it is counting towards the end result. On to game 8, which I restarted the recording for. The map was Western, a pretty decent one, reasonably long, so I knew I had a decent chance. And yeah, the Death was playing at the start, but eventually he once again seemed to give up and basically just let me win at the end, which was very much appreciated by this point. Now we're on to game 9. I had now been recording for 2.5 hours. I was not happy with this challenge anymore. I was getting really frustrated, so I was going to be playing as safe as possible. However, this game started in the worst possible fashion as I died twice going for the shortcut at the start. That's not too bad, you may be asking. Well, I'm afraid it gets worse as I end up dying to the log here. Now by this point, I'm almost giving up. I think I've died 3 times already. I've got no hope in catching up. But luckily for me, the Deaths were actually really good this round and managed to keep behind everyone, so it was nice and easy for me to catch back up. So here we go. You can see the Warden is once again in the game and he is in first place, but luckily for me, he ends up dying to the TNT just round the corner, and then I'm back into the lead, so I'm feeling pretty decent with my position now. But the Deaths are playing, so I do need to be careful, and now you will watch some nice, soothing, relaxing baiting of death. not that apart. But anyway, I just about had enough of a lead by this point. Someone actually boosted in front of me, but I knew they wouldn't make it as I had my boost for the end, and that made me win game number 9. So now, the finale, game number 10. All was up for grabs. I really needed to win this, and it was once again Terminal, the map which had such cruelly denied me beforehand. And yes, this game was a little bit easier because we don't have to worry about our Mucho Flame guy as Death, and that made things a lot easier, as you can probably see. I actually went for a bit of a speed run this time, but my hands were shaking like mad. I was really tired by this point and I just wanted to go to sleep, to be honest, and I'd been playing for about 3 hours by this point, so I was exhausted and I didn't want to risk too much, but I still ended up going for this shortcut, and luckily I managed it quite easily. So coming up to the end here, I basically knew I'd won by this point, as I'm pretty sure I'm a long way clear of everyone and the deaths are nowhere to be seen. I'm coming up to the final checkpoint here, and with this final boost, I declare the fact that I've won 10 games in a row. Thank you so much for watching to the end of my video. It took so long to make, so I'd really appreciate it if you could leave a like or subscribe to the channel. And if you made it to the very end, comment good boost. Thank you and cheerio!